I suppose this may come as a shock. But I don't really have friends. I think when I was younger, maybe I was a little bit weird or shy. What is this? Gosh, the hair. When I first moved into this house, I had every intention of hosting little parties with little hors d'oeuvres. In fact, speaking of parties, I have an announcement to make, but I think I'm going to save it to the end of the video so I don't disrupt the flow. But what were we talking about? I think about inviting people over and... Are you gonna get it? I know. Oh, it's just a package. I've been waiting for this.
I've done my fair share of what I call happiness searching, and I've done a lot of reading about what science says makes us happy, and those studies typically point toward relationships. But before we get more into what the studies say, can I just share my thoughts on things? Because there are a lot of videos and articles and professionals telling us that we're in a loneliness epidemic. And I really let that get to me and make me feel a little bit ashamed, I guess, that I don't have more friends. Or that I don't make more of an effort to make friends. Or sometimes wonder what's wrong with me and maybe people just don't like me enough to be friends.
A few weeks ago, I was busy overthinking life. It occurred to me that I've connected now with a whole community of people who long for the forest, the solitude. We romanticize being a cozy little cottage witch in the middle of nowhere.
Right. And if we're so lonely, then why do we want solitude so badly? And then I asked myself, if I remove all of the headlines that are telling me I'm lonely, and I just choose to not believe it for a second, I'm actually kind of peaceful. I was only feeling lonely because I was under the impression that I was lacking more friends, because I was told I needed more friends to be happy. I see it the same way as body image. You ask any toddler and they are so proud of their bodies and all of the jumping and running and movement that it can do.
How are we gonna get the wrinkles out?
And then we grow up and we get this idea that we're supposed to look a certain way, and we become dissatisfied with something that's not inherently flawed. And if we would let go of the belief that it was flawed, there would be no dissatisfaction. It's the belief, not the reality, that's the problem.
How are we vacuuming rugs? I'm not the only one with this problem.
Over these last few years, since I've been a little more secluded, I've learned how to befriend myself for, I think, the first time. And I'm not sure that I would have done that if it weren't for the seclusion. And I think that's the difference, right? Loneliness is something we feel when we're disconnected. Seclusion is often a conscious choice and is associated with a feeling of peace, even though they both imply an absence of other humans. And maybe it's that choice to spend time alone that makes the difference on whether or not we enjoy it. I don't know. Now, obviously, that's not to say I don't want more friends or I'm opposed to meeting new people or that I'm ungrateful for the friends that I do have. So I evaluated my life and realized that I was putting off a lot of decisions and inner peace for this future extroverted party hosting self that I never really needed to become. We moved into this house 3 years ago. It took 2 years to get a kitchen table. I thought that I needed a bigger table to host these little parties. Don't even ask me what we were going to do at these parties, okay? So I figured it could be healing to shrink the table, and I thrifted these 2 cute little chairs and finished moving into my space so it feels like a home and not like a college boys' dorm. I did some digging on the research that's been conducted that's fueling all of these articles about the loneliness epidemic, and I think some of the articles are leaving out some of the more important facts, like one being that we, as mortals, need 3 to 5 close, healthy relationships. That's all, just 3 to 5. And one of the larger studies said that 41% of participants even noted that loneliness can sometimes be enjoyable. My personal takeaway is that our levels of loneliness come down to the quality rather than the quantity of our relationships, and the sense of choice that we have or don't have in whether we spend time in isolation or not. And isn't that an oversimplification? Because there are so many reasons a magical, light-filled human being like yourself might feel alone today. And I don't know all the reasons, and I clearly don't have the answers. But I do have stories. And today we're going to visit the waterfall because that's where the sirens are, and they're the best company when you're in need of a friend.
The sirens get a bit of a bad rap? I think it's rap, but rep makes more sense. Like reputation. They get they're just misunderstood.
While sirens have the reputation of being a bit dark, they're not so much that way here in the Hollow.
They came to find solace in the Hollow, just like the rest of us.
If you've already visited Haven Hollow with me,
I don't need that.
You'll know it has its share of dark realities, but the fairy magic brings out the best in everyone. Like the euphemistic version of everything, you know what I mean? For example, you might know the sirens to be a bit manipulative. Here, they're encouraging, okay? Or perhaps you've heard they can be a little dangerous. Here, they're adventurous. You get it, the same charming personalities, but with a little light mixed into their darker nature. You're gonna love them. So, you've made your way to Haven Hollow, and somewhere, deep in the rhythm of the falling water, the splashing on the rocks, and the gentle song of the birds is a faint call that grows louder as you move south of the town center. You twirl through the meadow, and the call becomes clearer as you happen upon the waterfall. The closer you step, the more vibrant the colors and the more harmonies you can pick out from the beautiful voices of the sirens calling from the waters. Their waterfall is perfectly tucked away in its own corner of the hollow, a beautiful blend of that seclusion and connection. You can almost always guarantee the sirens will be here when you need them. They don't really like to leave. The sirens have a bit of a dark past, and they came...
Hi, I'm gonna call this a little behind the scenes moment because I've been working on this painting. Actually, I've even restarted 2 unfinished paintings. My heart's not in it. So I guess let's go put them in the dark pit of my closet with all the other unfinished paintings. Maybe we could arrange some flowers for the table while we finish this story. Okay, aye.
All right, where were we? The sirens have a bit of a dark past, and they came to the hollow to find refuge, just like the rest of us. They found peace and light in the waterfall, so they stay. They get a little anxious when they leave the group, and like us, feeling fear doesn't always bring out the best in them, so they rarely leave the waterfall and they stay close to their siren sisters. Sometimes, Venturing out and facing those fears can be healthy. But we come to the hollow to feel safe. We do enough venturing out and fear facing in the real world, so you can save that for a different time and stay here as long as you'd like. The Sirens are happy to have the company, especially if you're willing to sing tenor or bass. They can get a little competitive when you try to hit the soprano notes. You can stay ashore in the grassy area or take a step into the water. Join in the singing or stay quiet. Your call. It doesn't matter much what you do or say while you visit. The important thing is that you allow yourself to feel that sense of belonging. The Sirens are truly overjoyed to see you and catch up, and we've already covered that the Sirens have a whole spectrum of light and dark in their personalities. And really, all that means is that they've lived some life, and they're totally accepting of wherever you're at in your own life. They're fully aware that some days have more darkness than others, and that's why they love the waterfall so much, for its healing and light-yielding properties. It's that fairy magic that helps you be your most comfortable self at the waterfall. No need for people-pleasing, energy reading, or personality matching. The Sirens love spending time with you and never expect you to say just the right thing or respond in any certain way.
Although one of the Sirens has a really pretty rock collection that she's gathered from the bottom of the water, and she would be overjoyed to share that with you. And there's another one who's really good at braids.
No pun intended, but she's really good at the waterfall braid. You could also make some jewelry with the flowers around the water, or just bask in the sunshine to take it all in. I also recommend staying a little bit later to watch the sunset from the top of the falls. That's pretty magical. And when your social battery is all filled up and you're ready to head back to the real world, the Sirens will send you on your way with a little wave and the invitation to return soon, which you can do whenever you choose.
Okay, remember that announcement? Background info, okay? I've never accepted a sponsorship, and it's got me thinking about what I actually want for my videos and how much I value you and your experience watching them. It's important to me to be really picky when and if I ever put a sponsorship in a video. So instead, I decided to launch a Patreon. So like the little parties I talked about with the hors d'oeuvres, I can't invite you to my house, but we could do a live stream and bonus videos. I've recorded some cozy sleep stories, behind the scenes content. Regardless of whether you're in a position to join the community right now or not, I hope that my videos here will bring a little bit of light and peace into your life. Anyway, I'm just so happy you're here.